Welcome back, friends, to Terrorverse TV. I'm John Altarelli, and today I'm going to provide an update on one of my prior videos on the Fourth Amendment. I got a great comment from one of our viewers, and I want to share that with you, and I want to update the information I provided in the last one. As I said, I was always going to do that if I got some helpful feedback. That I would either correct the record or enhance the record, and this is that case. So before we get started, please subscribe, like, share, and again, provide comments. It's great to see that we're getting helpful comments from our viewers, which makes this a better situation for everyone because I can continue to bring better content and we have a conversation between me and you, and we can do better for all of the rest of the viewers. So thank you very much. So here's the comment. I got it from Auditing Tennessee 5696. I don't know his name or her name, but it was a great comment. So the comment was, Pennsylvania v. Mimms also comes into play. Now, I listed a bunch of the cases under the Fourth Amendment, and I did not list this one. I should have, and it was an obvious case that I should have put in there, and I was glad that brought to my attention. Under the case, Pennsylvania Mimms, this is a 1977 case, Supreme Court case. There was a guy, Harry Mimms, who was stopped by a Philadelphia police officer, and he was because he had a driving an expired license plate. During the stop, the officers asked Mimms to get out of the car. He complied, and when the officers noticed he had a bulge in his pants, he was frisked, and he discovered a firearm, and he was charged with concealed weapon without a license. Now, Mimms argued that asking him to come out of the car and searching him and frisking him violated his Fourth Amendment rights, and the Pennsylvania Supreme Court agreed, and then it went up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court reversed Pennsylvania. And it ruled that the officer's request for Mimms to search the vehicle was reasonable and did not violate the Fourth Amendment. And the reason for that is they said that driving officer asking him to come out of the vehicle is a minimal intrusion compared to the interest of officer safety. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail because you'll see this a lot now that officers will claim the reason why they ask you out of the car, the reason why you get frisked is because they're concerned for officer safety, even though you can imagine a lot of times there's really no risk. You got a guy sitting in the car, he got his hands on the wheel. That's why I always put my hands on the wheel so that there's no issue. I comply with the request and try not to give the impression that the officer has anything to fear, because if they do, then they can invoke Mimms. So officer safety is now a new standard that the officers can use, another way to get you to get out of the car and then to use the Terry stop and frisk rule, the Terry v. Ohio, which if they see something that may be a risk to them, for example, if they have reasonable cause or suspicion of a crime, that you're armed and dangerous, and therefore if he sees that you have a bulge in your pocket, they can do this outside of the pants type quick search, and they'll feel the gun, and then you're going to get arrested. And so there's a slippery slope here, where you can see the law enforcement, they have lots of tools at their disposal to try to get around the Fourth Amendment, and one of them is this sort of officer safety. So they'll claim that a lot. So it's really important, because if you get outside the car, then you're subject to Terry, and it just goes downhill from there, right? Remember I talked about the dogs. They bring the dogs around the car, see if they can smell any contraband, and if they do, then they can get you out of the car for that. So you don't actually have as much rights in the car as I would like to suggest that you do, or we would think that the Fourth Amendment does. So be very careful in police stops. And one of the things you want to be careful about is not giving the police any reason to suspect that they're in danger. Now, if you've ever watched a bunch of these videos on YouTube where the people don't comply and they argue and they won't get out of the car, they won't show their hands, they won't give their license and registration, and they may have something under the seat, or they're reaching down. All of that is going to give rise for the police officer to believe that his safety or her safety is at risk, and he's going to have more right to grab you, take you out of the car, even if you won't get out of the car. And I've seen some where people have been forcibly removed from the car, And then things just go downhill from there. And I would suggest that you don't do that. Another thing that was brought up by, this is going to be a short segment because I think that's pretty clear that the Pennsylvania v. Mimms is a very important case. You are required to get out of the car if they ask you to. If they do find something and it ends up becoming a charge, you can then come back later on. Your lawyer can challenge the reasonableness of the search, whether there really was officer safety risk. The body cam hopefully will be on, and if not, hopefully you had a camera on so that you can show that, hey, I had my hands on the wheel. There's no way that the officer was at risk. I wasn't yelling. I wasn't saying anything. I wasn't threatening. I was just sitting there complying. And he just wanted me out of the car so that he can use an unreasonable search and seizure, and he did, and he shoehorned us away into a Terry stop, and that's not reasonable. It's going to be tough. It's a facts and circumstances, but you should know that that is the law, and you need to be very careful about that. Now, the other thing that this comment came from one of our viewers, which is another very helpful thing, is that there's an app called Attorney Shield, and this app, and I think maybe we'll show a clip of it, is something that you can be very useful if you get a traffic stop. Now, there's many of these apps out there. There's another one called Legal Shield, and some of them are kind of scams. I'm not vouching for any of these. I don't have them. I'm going to look into it. I may want to get one. I don't really probably need it because I am a lawyer. I think I should be able to exercise my rights without having to call some lawyer on the phone. But I think we should show a couple of clips, Jen, if you can. I just want to give people a sense of what this app does. And even without the app, if you learn to talk to the police effectively and you know your rights, you're far better off than just sitting there either complying or not complying and getting yourself in trouble. So if you have the clip, Jen, let's run one of those. And there's a lawyer that also did a little review. I think I'd show you that clip too if I can.
Traffic stops can be a stressful and scary experience. But with Attorney Shield, expert legal assistance is only a few taps away. Our commitment is to connect you with an attorney within 30 seconds.
Can you confirm this is a traffic stop situation and that it's safe to talk?
Yes, I've been pulled over and I'm really not sure why.
Okay, just let the officer know your attorney is on the phone.
Upon connecting with an attorney, all interactions with law enforcement are recorded within our secure cloud.
License and registration, please.
Here you go, officer. Also, my attorney's on the phone. She's advised me not to talk and she'll be speaking for me.
With Attorney Shield, you don't have to worry about what to say or what to do. And our goal is to ensure your rights are protected.
Officer, you have my client's license and other documentation. He does not consent to a search.
Okay. Have a good night.
Thank you, sir.
I can assure you that's never going to go that well, even if you have Attorney Shield. But that was quite nice to see that the cop respected that there was an attorney on the phone. If he had some nefarious reason for stopping, that stopped him in his tracks. I can't imagine why he would just walk away. If we pulled him over, he should have had something, that he wanted to pull him over for. But that was, I think that's a little bit of an over exaggeration. But it's nice to know that you have an attorney right there that can talk to the police. The police can't talk to you when the attorney's there. They have to go to the attorney. And the other thing, if you notice, when he pulled down his paperwork, he had it all in one little bundle. I think Attorney Shield probably tells you to get everything ready, have it all in one little folder, and have it always at hand so you're not reaching into the glove box. You notice he had it on his visor. So that way his hands were always in full view. And I recommend that highly to anyone, not just for your protection, but also for law enforcement. Don't put them in a situation where they feel unsafe. Keep your hands out in view. It's very important. And when they ask for the papers, it's probably good if you have, a folder handy above your head where they can look at you rather than you leaning over the seat into the glove box and they can't see the glove box. They don't know if you're going to pull a gun out, right? That's always a concern. And if I was a law enforcement officer, I would be concerned about that. So it's really kind of nice. You're doing a benefit for yourself and for the officer if you have your paperwork ready. You can put a copy of your license in there. You could put a copy of your insurance card and a copy of your registration. Put them all in one piece of paper. I do that. I also have them on my phone on an app. I can just flash them to the officer, because when I ride a motorcycle, I don't carry all that stuff with me. I just show them the phone, and they will often accept it because they can run the number. So that's what I recommend. I got an attorney here who also does a lot of these reviews. He's pretty good. I watch some of his content. I like him, and let's see what he has to say. I mean, he's already looked at it, so let's let him tell us a little bit about it.
So if you haven't heard of the application called Attorney Shield, well, Attorney Shield is really an app that you need to familiarize yourself, and quite frankly, it's an app that you should download and have on your phone. Attorney Shield is an app that provides you with 24/7 access, virtually immediate access to attorneys. The best part is when you need it most, okay? So basically, if you are in a situation, it could be in the middle of the night, it could be on a weekend when your lawyer's not working and you need to speak to a lawyer right then and right there, you just hit the button on Attorney Shield, and just like that, you got a live lawyer on video chat with you to talk you through the situation. Well, the guys over at Attorney Shield reached out to me and they said, hey, we want to show you some of the videos of the calls that came into the attorneys at Attorney Shield, and you tell us what you think. And shockingly, I was blown away with how great these calls were, start to finish. So I want to talk to you about it because, again, was really how quickly the lawyer would pick up the phone. And I can tell you it was virtually instant. And in many of these calls that I watched, these were for traffic stops. And I can tell you, before the police officer even got out of his or her car, the attorney was on the call with the caller. So I was blown away with that. The second thing, okay, what kind of benefit is having that lawyer right there at that moment going to provide for the members that call in? Well, first and foremost, it calmed the situation down. A lot of people are nervous when police pull them over, or even when the police are behind them, they get nervous. But people do sometimes have a general distrust of police, whether it's justified or not. And having that lawyer there was very common. I found it to be very common watching these videos, or that the people that were calling in really were able to calm down, because not only did they have a lawyer present for them, that lawyer was there to de-escalate the situation, to inform the caller of certain things that they can or cannot do in that situation, make sure that they didn't do anything to escalate the police officer's concerns. Because keep in mind, when police walk up to the car, they don't know what they're walking into, so naturally they're a bit on edge. And having the lawyer there not only benefits the caller and calms them down and gives them valuable information about what their constitutional rights are, what they can and cannot do in that situation is protected by our Constitution. It gets them through it in a much quicker and a much safer way, because sometimes a seemingly innocent situation, a traffic stop, can escalate based on the person that's being pulled over, their actions or reactions, and how the police react to that. And sometimes it can escalate to a very dangerous and even deadly situation. On these calls that I watched, it was the exact opposite. Okay, it calmed the situation down, it calmed the caller down, and quite frankly, in turn, it calmed the officer down.
I think we get the point. The other thing I've seen, just, if you don't want to buy an app, and it didn't look like it was that expensive, but it does cost something. I've seen other attorneys and other experts in this area have suggested that you get a placard that you sort of laminate a piece of paper that says that you're not going to answer questions, and it states your sort of rights and maybe the state law in that state, so that it's all there, that the police officer understands that your right is to not say anything, just to provide your license and registration and insurance, and that's it. And you can not even roll your window down, because you may not want them to say that they can smell something. You hold it up and you put it against the window, and I've seen that. And that'll be enough to satisfy your requirements. They have everything they need. They can look at it all. It's all on that piece of paper. You have a copy of your license, registration, and all that. And you just put that on the window, and that's all you have to do. And the police officer he may say, well, give me the license so I can go back to the car. You can say, no, just take a picture of it. You have a phone, whatever. But again, if they really ask for the piece of paper, give it to them. I would not recommend having a battle over whether or not they want to actually walk back to the car and run your plate and your license, because they're entitled to it. And I wouldn't make it hard for them. But once you put that piece of paper up, they now know that you're not going to talk. They're going to have to stick to their rules. They're going to have to run your license, run your registration, run your insurance, and if all that's in good shape, then they're going to tell you what the traffic stop is if they do, or they're going to write you the ticket. You don't have to answer anything. You don't have to say whether you think you were speeding or not, what they think the stop was about, because that's what the first question they always ask is, well, do you know why I pulled you over? And you should say, I don't answer questions. That way you don't have to say, I don't know. You just, I don't answer questions. And that's what that piece of paper will say. So do the best to protect yourself. I would be very, very careful about getting too militant in this area, because traffic stops are not safe for law enforcement officers. And if you make it unsafe for them, they're going to make it unsafe for you. But at the same time, you have your Fourth Amendment rights. I want you to enforce them. I want you to use your rights to protect your rights as a citizen, and you should not be subject to unreasonable search and seizure. And the police officers should be conducting themselves in a professional and appropriate way. And if you make it easy for them, I believe they, in almost all cases, they will. I think if you look at almost all the videos where you see somebody was shot, somebody was beat up, or whatever it is, I've never seen one where the cops go in the car, just grab somebody by the neck and yank them out. There was always an escalation, and it usually started from non-compliance, being belligerent, refusing to comply with the simple request of give me your license and registration. What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not, just don't say anything. Just give it to them. They have the right to get it, and so give it to them. But I'm glad that this comment came in from a good subscriber, and I'm glad we brought the Pennsylvania v. Mimms case in, because it is an important case, because they can make you step outside of the car. I didn't bring that up on the last one, and I should have. It's a very important one. So I hope this little addition was helpful. I want to thank our viewers for those comments. I want to thank them for being helpful and respectful. It really helps us do a better job, and I want to do a better job. And I want to thank Jen for putting these clips up for us. I gave it to her at the last minute. She didn't have a lot of time to get prepared, so I apologize for that. And poor Jen, she's always trying to make me look good when I don't know what the heck I'm doing. But anyway, thank you very much. God bless everyone. Be safe out there. Be careful. And subscribe, like, share, and bring us some more comments. So thank you very much.